Hi, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review for you. Going to talk about the 4K edition of Mission Impossible 2. I used to make allowances for this movie because I'm a John Woo fan, and I thought the action was fantastic, and to this day it still is. I'm going through the Mission Impossible movies, reviewing these steelbooks that came out right at the end of Best Buy's tenure. 2 has always been one, like I said, I made allowances for. It was written by Robert Towne, the great writer. The story was from Ronald Moore and Brandon Braga from Star Trek fame. And John Woo directed it. And yes, there are flying birds in here. Hans Zimmer did the soundtrack. Tom Cruise looks fantastic and is in great shape. They open with a real rock climbing scene where he had no net. I understand he did have a cable, but he tore his shoulder doing the big jump that you see in the film, and it was as real as it gets. Also, the knife scene at the end was pretty real as well. Movie had a $120 to $25 million budget, went on to gross $546 million, more than the first one, and that's why we have a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh one. Tom Cruise produced it with his partner Paula Wagner. Dergway Scott plays the bad guy. Thandie Newton is in it. Richard Roxburgh is in it. Ving Rhames. I love him as the Luther character in all these movies. This is basically a personal movie. This is not a very good Mission Impossible movie. It's about Ethan Hunt. Ethan Hunt wants the girl. Ethan Hunt has to use the girl to get what he wants. Personal this, personal that. At the end of the movie, you're left with the feeling that this was basically Ethan Hunt getting what he wants. In the end, it also leaves us at a place where Mission Impossible could go forward into the third fantastic movie from J.J. Abrams. Rewatching these movies, this will probably be the least of them because it doesn't really feel like Mission Impossible. There's a few Mission Impossible-y things in it, but overall, it's about a girl and a guy and really kind of skims over a lot of the espionage and convoluted stuff we like. Yes, you still have a convoluted storyline. And they whipped up he's a pretty good bad guy, actually. And you believe that some of the things that happen in the film could happen, especially after the opening scene. There's some great chases. There's some great set pieces, as there is in all of the Mission Impossible movies. A great motorcycle chase this time around. But in the end, it was just okay. And I love John Woo. I would love to make the allowance to go, he really elevated this, but he didn't. It was style over substance for the most part, and that's not what Mission Impossible needed. Now, some of the pluses, other than the aforementioned Tom Cruise looks great and the set pieces are wonderful, there's less special effects and more practical stuff in this one. That would kind of be a trend that continues. And you have Metallica on the soundtrack. Yeah, they contributed a song and did the theme. Well, they had U2 working on the first one. That'd be a plus to have. It sounded good. The 4K looks great. It's another native 4K transfer. Beautiful looking film. Really did a good job with it. Cinematography is great. There's a lot of slow motion, a lot of hair being tossed in the wind, a lot of sand being thrown up, and birds flying off in slow motion that you will get in any John Woo film. But it is a Mission Impossible film. It does have some death-defying stunts. It does have a story that is, let's save the world. But it does, in the end, feel like a personal story about Ethan Hunt. Not such a bad thing. This is another one of those silvery steel books. You get the 4K, the Blu-ray, and the sticker. You don't get an extra disc of extras. They're all shoved on the Blu-ray. I didn't watch it this time around. I watched it when I originally got the Blu-ray back in the day. I think I have the Blu-ray of this. Anyway, the 4K looks fantastic. Sounds great. We didn't get an Atmos mix or a DTS-X mix, but it is lossless, Dolby True HD, and it sounds good. Really good for a 5.1 mix. All in all, it's worth getting if you are a completist and have to have them all. But I still think that after this is all said and done, if I meet someone who's never seen the Mission Impossible movies, I would probably start with the third one. The third one is, to me, the perfect Mission Impossible movie, but we'll get to that one. But if you are a fan of the second one, or you have to have the whole collection, this is a really decent 4K. Looks good, sounds good. We just wish the movie was better. And the steelbooks look quite nice on the shelf, but why couldn't they do the seventh one, which came out right at the time, right before they released these? It's red. The other 6 are silvery. And then the one I have for the 6th movie is white. Won't match at all, but I don't have OCD that bad. I did enjoy the movie this time, but in the end, it's not going to be one I go back to. Thandie Newton was fabulous. I think she's great in everything she's ever been in, and she's great in this movie. She plays a thief that's brought along not only as a love interest, but she has things to do with the bad guy. All in all, Mission Impossible 2, the least of the Mission Impossible movies, but not bad to watch on 4K and not a bad way to spend a Sunday afternoon. Check it out if you're so inclined, and the Steelbooks, like I said, you can get them cheap at Walmart.com and other retailers now that Best Buy is no longer. Mission Impossible 2 should have been better with John Woo at the helm and the people behind the camera. I think they were going for something. I think with the first two movies, they hadn't fully decided on what exactly they wanted to do, and after the third one, I think they nail it from then on out. We'll get to it. I'm Scott. I'm ROCKFILE. Thanks for listening to a podcast. Have a spectacular day.